birth of a baby, a small event that became the turning point in world history. 2,000 years ago, the Messiah arrived on earth, and only a few people saw the sign.
The only people who see the sign in the stars of the night are the people who are looking for it.
The ones who saw the sign were the wise men from the east. Their search for the King of the Jews brought them to the palace of Herod the Great.
The irony is, of course, that they have seen a star that they associate with the rising of a king over Jacob.
So who exactly were the wise men who called on King Herod, and why did they seem to know Jewish prophecy better than the Jews? Well, the answer may lie in a 3,000-year-old inscription discovered in Jordan.
In 1967, archaeologists found the remains of an ancient temple in a village called Deir Allah.
On the wall of the temple was an inscription about Balaam the prophet, the same character that we know from the book of Numbers.
Balaam, the son of Beor, visited by an angel and scolded by a donkey. A freelance prophet hired to curse the nation of Israel, but instead, he prophesied the coming of the Jewish Messiah, the Star of Jacob. Only small fragments of the Balaam inscription have survived. It's written in Aramaic, and it talks about a vision of judgment from the gods of Canaan.
Totally different context altogether, an archaeological context, with a story about him that is not the biblical story, but it shows us that his reputation as a professional foreteller, prophet, existed throughout the eastern side of the Jordan, what we would call the Transjordan.
Balaam is one of the few Old Testament prophets with archaeological proof of his existence.
I think it's just exciting. It lends plausibility in one sense to Matthew's story, because the people who are familiar with Balaam's prophecies are people who are coming from that side of the Jordan River.
Balaam's prophecy led the wise men to look for a star, and the star led them first to Jerusalem. This is the Tower of David, the spot where Herod's palace once stood, a place historians called wondrous beyond words. It was here that Herod summoned the wise men to a secret meeting.
The humor in the text is that they come to the king of the Jews, Herod, who does not know his own scriptures and has to ask his counselors and his advisors to go search the Jewish scriptures so that he can find out which prophecy they're talking about, while they who are Gentiles and foreigners know the prophecy of Balaam.
Herod's men found a 700-year-old clue from the prophet Micah, a scripture that led the wise men to the birthplace of the Messiah. They went to Bethlehem and found Joseph, Mary, and Jesus. They brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh, gifts that were described by the prophets hundreds of years earlier.